Now, please welcome to the stage, Ben McKean, founder and CEO of Hungryroot. Ben will be interviewed by Groceryshop's Vice President of Content, Joe Laszlo.
Welcome to the Groceryshop stage.
Thank you for
So nice to see you. I feel like I've known you forever, but for folks in the audience, can you give a quick snapshot of your background and how you come to be here?
Sure. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I started my first company at 18, fell in love with building brand experiences and using technology to help people improve their lives. After college, I started my second company, which helped restaurants dynamically price their menus depending on consumer demand. We had over 2,000 restaurants use the platform, over nearly 1 million diners seated on the platform, and I sold the business to Groupon in 2012. After a couple of years at Groupon, I started Hungryroot, and the premise behind Hungryroot has always been that food is deeply personal and deeply emotional, and so if you can help people get the foods that work best for them, you can build a very big, positive impact business.
Great. So at its simplest, oversimplest, Hungryroot is a grocery e-commerce service. People can go online, they can order groceries. What makes it different from other grocery e-commerce options?
When I started the company in 2015, I thought of it as a CPG. So we had 6 SKUs. We had essentially recreated the frozen dinner in a fresh, healthy format, and we sold them online. And that was what the company was for the first 4 years of our operation. We grew from 6 SKUs to 60, and we grew to 25 million of revenue in 2019. But we weren't growing at the rate that we felt was possible, and we were unprofitable. And what we learned was if the most convenient shopping experience for consumers online is a grocery shopping experience. You can build a great CPG product, but if you sell it online, direct to consumer, it's going to be more convenient for them to purchase it alongside the rest of their groceries. And so in 2019, we pivoted to being a grocery service. We added third-party brands to the platform for the first time. There's a lot of ways of getting your groceries, and so the way that we really built it to be unique and to stand out was we built the entire platform on AI. And specifically, we developed this algorithm that uses a lot of preference data, a lot of different factors for determining what is the most ideal grocery basket for each customer each week. And as a result, customers save a tremendous amount of time. Mm-hmm. Instead of the average consumer in America spends 2 to 3 hours a week grocery shopping, on Hungryroot they spend 2 to 3 minutes a week because the algorithm has effectively done it for them. It's one less thing to worry about. They discover new foods that they otherwise wouldn't have purchased themselves. If they have some sort of health objective, they can put it into the algorithm, and it's great at helping them solve that. And it saves them money because 20 to 30% of what we buy at the grocery store, we throw out at home, and an algorithm does not have that problem.
So having AI pick people's groceries makes it faster, easier, more convenient, and less waste. It all sounds great. But before we talk about what's going on under the hood at Hungryroot, talk a little bit more about the customer experience. What does the shopper see?
Sure. So the whole premise of Hungryroot is you don't walk into our store with an empty cart. The AI has filled your cart for you. So we have to understand a little bit of information about you when you sign up for the service. So you take a quiz. It takes about 5 minutes.
You've got a quick video of that. Yeah, there we go.
And we ask you everything about, from who are you purchasing for? What's your household look like? What are your objectives with your food? Are you trying to save money? Are you trying to save time? Are you trying to lose weight? How do you eat in the morning? Do you have a sit-down breakfast? Do you have a snack on the go? Do you have nothing at all? All of this is fed into the algorithm. Now, we also use machine learning to infer data about you, since we cluster you with users who answered similarly, who may be a year into the service or 3 years into the service, and that forms the basis of your first delivery. Mm-hmm. You have total control to remove items from your cart. You have total control to add items. That's a great data signal for the algorithm. Now, if you think about an AI who grocery shops for you and it just gives you this basket of groceries, that's not very helpful. So it gives you recipes as well, so it's clear what are you going to actually make with the groceries it's recommending.
That's awesome. Just to be clear, the AI isn't making up those recipes yet, right? It's still human-driven recipes, but AI
yes.
selected.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't think we're quite ready for AIs to anyways, let's talk a little bit more, since the premise of this session, or the title of this session, is the future of AI in grocery. Let's talk a little bit more about kind of the framework, the way that Hungryroot thinks about artificial intelligence and its various applications in your business.
Sure. So in 2019, when we decided to build the platform on AI, we didn't call it AI. Because that wasn't a buzzword at the time. What it was we were building a large-scale constraint optimization algorithm. And this falls under the field of operations research, which is a subfield within AI. An optimization algorithm, or more broadly operations research, is great when you're trying to solve a problem that has a number of hard constraints that need to be built into the algorithm. So for example, if one of our customers tells us they're vegan, we can't send them non-vegan foods, right? That would be a horrible mistake. If we run out of inventory in something, or we max out inventory, we can't put that in someone's cart because we can't fulfill it. So there's a number of hard constraints that are built into the algorithm. That's why operations research is such an attractive field of AI for us to develop in. Now, the other areas where we are also investing that are a little bit more top of mind for people. So machine learning. Machine learning is great at prescribing, predicting something about a customer. So as I mentioned, the customer that just signed up, well, who else are they similar to in terms of their behavior? So we use machine learning as an input into our algorithm. Generative AI is really interesting for, our optimization algorithm. It can't explain to you why it chose that recipe that week in natural language, but generative AI can. So generative AI being plugged into helping to articulate why the algorithm's making the decisions it is in a way that really resonates with consumers is an application that we're looking at right now.
So interesting. So a sophisticated multi-layer set of technology applications, all of which, oversimplifying at the 25,000 foot level, is AI, but it's like very nuanced, very sophisticated as you look more closely at it. That's very cool. Hungry, you've said something like 70% of your sales kind of are attributable to the machine learning and operations research-based models that you've built. How are you able to quantify that? Is it just kind of, do you A/B test? Do you let some people just fend for themselves and some people get all the AI goodness?
Well, it's actually just when the algorithm has filled the cart for the customer, it's effectively how much of that cart do they remove and replace with something on their own. That's a totally fine aspect of the experience. If you want to choose on your own, that's great. It's a great data signal for the algorithm, but we have found the higher the algorithm's accuracy in predicting what you're going to want to buy for the week, or put differently, the higher your trust in the algorithm to choose your groceries for the week, the higher our customer retention. So it's a continuous optimization of how do we make this algorithm know this week, these are the foods you're going to love. Next week, these are the foods you're going to love. And people's lives change, right? So every week, you're probably going to edit something, but the less that you need to, the better the experience.
That's so interesting. I mean, there are so many exogenous variables that go into what somebody wants. If it's really hot, I'll lean towards more gelato or sorbet. If it's really cold, I'll want more soup ingredients. Does the model also kind of take into account some of those sort of environmental variables, seasonality too, right? I mean, come wintertime, like what I eat is really different than in the summer.
Seasonality, it certainly takes into account, what's the season. In terms of if it's really hot in your location, that's a big opportunity for us down the road. But it's much more around customer objectives with their food. So 82% of our customers sign up with some sort of health objective, either trying to lose weight, lower cholesterol, even just eat more plants. And that's where it really helps to optimize around what are the foods that are going to work best for that person.
That's great. Are you able to track, like, somebody's first basket, they'll tweak 60% of the things, and it gets less and less as the algorithm does learn an individual's preferences?
Absolutely. That's what we're continuously optimizing for. And this is where, the questions that we need to ask the customer before giving them their first delivery are very different than 3 or 5 or 10 deliveries in. So we're continuously optimizing around that customer journey.
Fantastic. Well, you touched on generative AI kind of coming in and playing a role in terms of that kind of human explanation piece. Are there other AI or machine learning data science applications that you're looking at that you haven't deployed yet, but that Hungryroot might find valuable going forward?
Well, when we think about AI, and when we talk about AI, we really are talking about our optimization algorithm, because that's the core technology that we've developed. It's been optimized with over 7 million orders, 100 million grocery items sold at this point, and that's what drives the entire value proposition for our customers. So that's our main focus. We're continuously looking at machine learning in specific applications, improving the search experience, for example, or clustering users so we can infer data when they're just getting started with our platform. And then generative AI, as I mentioned, from a customer experience perspective, it's primarily about translating something that's not natural language into something that is natural language. So translating the algorithm into an explanation of why the algorithm chose what it did, or vice versa. You instead of having to edit your delivery by removing things and adding items, you just say, hey, I'm trying to eat a little lighter this week.
Right. Using
generative AI to then convert that into something that the algorithm can actually act on. Generative AI also, as everyone is doing today, is an internal efficiency tool. So there's tremendous opportunities in customer care, in creative, in engineering, in many different areas. But that, to me, feels a little bit more table stakes in today's environment. If you're not doing that today, you will be in a year or two.
That makes a huge amount of sense to me. Super exciting. We talked backstage about just how much of the Hungryroot kind of staff base is not necessarily a data scientist, but has a product or a data focused role. How much have you kind of built your model yourselves versus kind of pulling in third-party models that you've just optimized, tweaked, customized for Hungryroot?
So pretty much everything is entirely built in-house, developed in-house, and proprietary. The one exception to that is we use a third-party solver, which essentially speeds up the algorithm. If you think about the task of, figuring, each week we sell 600 unique grocery items, 6,000 unique recipes to a relatively large customer base. There's a lot of different dimensions that the algorithm needs to process through. The number of preferences on each individual customer is tremendous. So it's a large data task. We use a third party to help us speed that up. But besides that, everything is in-house.
Yeah, we've mainly focused on the benefit of your AI deployment from a customer-facing, shopper-facing point of view, saving time, kind of getting exactly the ingredients they want without needing to tweak or mess around. But there's huge back-end benefits to this as well. And I don't know, I feel like I'm teeing you up a softball, but like talk about how having all of this data about what people prefer kind of helps from a supply chain and operations and just inventory perspective.
Having an AI grocery shop for consumers, one, underpins our entire value proposition, but as you mentioned, it's just a better, economical, more sustainable way of grocery shopping. So I'll give you a couple examples. One is the algorithm is always optimizing to minimize food waste. So if it determines that you're indifferent between broccoli and Brussels sprouts, it's going to give you the item that we have more inventory of. And it's doing that in the background, so customers aren't aware of this. So our spoilage at our facilities is 80% less than the typical grocery store. Now, there's also a huge food spoilage issue for consumers at their home. 20 to 30% of what they buy at the grocery store we throw out. We're really bad at grocery shopping for ourselves as humans. We walk down the aisle, we impulse purchase. We don't know what we're going to do with that item, and then it spoils at our home. So 20 to 30% of the food we buy at grocery stores we throw out at our home. The algorithm is optimized to give you a delivery that you are going to entirely use within the week. And it gives you the recipes of how to accomplish that in a really simple way. So for our customers, they've largely cut out food waste. There's a sustainability benefit to that, there's a cost benefit to that, and it's a big part of the value proposition.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I am now very distracted thinking about whether I am indifferent to broccoli versus Brussels sprouts, but I will table that in the back of my mind. And one of the things I think is really interesting is clearly AI is critical to your success, but if you go to Hungryroot.com, there's not a lot there about like AI is picking your groceries for you. Like, how do you think about whether, when, if to ever kind of surface that tech underpinning to consumers?
Yeah, so we've done a lot of consumer research about this topic, and what we found is, compared to a year ago, consumers are much more interested or willing to hear AI as a value proposition, sort of, this is powered by AI. That being said, they still don't want to, and generally are turned off by it. So we don't use AI at all in any of our consumer messaging. We talk about the value proposition that the AI delivers. Consumers want the magic that AI brings, but they don't want to hear, oh, this is AI. It feels a little impersonal, a little, unrelatable for a lot of people.
Yeah. Let's shift gears and look into the crystal ball for the last few minutes we've got on stage together. Kind of what's new and exciting and coming soon for Hungryroot?
Well, so our whole thesis, if it's not clear already, is that in 5 years, 10 years, at some point in the future, for your weekly grocery shop, you're going to want AI to do it for you. There's always going to be the desire to walk into a store and have that physical, experience. There's always going to be a need for on-demand delivery. Hey, let's have ice cream tonight while we watch Netflix or whatever it is. But for your core weekly grocery shop, AI is just fundamentally better at accomplishing it than we are as humans. And so what that means for us is that we want to be the ones who are pioneering that experience. And today we're really just getting started. I mean, we have, I would say the foundation of our algorithm and our technology is very strong, but we're a really small grocery service. We have 600 SKUs. Trader Joe's has 4,000, and they're one of the smallest SKU assortments in the grocery industry. The average grocery store has over 35,000 SKUs. So we're marching from 600 to 4,000 over the next several years. Trader Joe's a very large, successful company. We believe 4,000 with our model is really the where we need to build for over the next several years. So from our perspective, it's not as easy as just adding another 3,400 SKUs. We just launched this great new line of smoothies on the platform because 80% of our customers tell us they want to buy smoothies from us, but the algorithm's not trained to sell smoothies. So if we just go, develop a great line of smoothies without retraining the algorithm, we're not going to sell them. So the march from 600 to 4,000 SKUs is really the growth drivers of our business, and how the algorithm continues to evolve through that is a critical piece.
That's kind of exciting. I imagine the fundamental foundation of the algorithm will work. It just needs to learn the characteristics of what smoothies are like and what kinds of people like them, and not just smoothies, but all of these other new products that you'll be looking to augment the assortment with.
And there's a lot of complexity underlying underlying the surface there. So pricing as well. Price. Every customer has a different price sensitivity. Mm-hmm. Every customer has a different cost sensitivity, and the algorithm optimizing around that for each new product category we go into is something we focus on a lot.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I think there's a lot of sensitivity around like price optimization in a customer-facing way, but definitely around like discounts, the right way to kind of present a loyalty discount. 2 for 1 versus 50% off. Like different people just resonate differently with those kinds of messages. And yeah, AI is much better at us than figuring out what works for me versus you versus somebody else.
Absolutely.
Cool. And then, so you mentioned like kind of Hungryroot 1.0 kind of not finding its way to profitability. Like where are you on the profitability journey right now?
We're nicely profitable, which we're very proud of. This year, first half of this year, we did 182 million of revenue, and the business is EBITDA profitable. We're cash flow positive. There's very little CapEx in our business, so our EBITDA is effectively our free cash flow, and the future is really bright on that path. One of the key aspects that's driving our profitability, there's really 2 things here. First is delivering perishable food to consumers' home is highly correlated to average order value. So we have $125 in our average delivery. This is the core weekly grocery shop for our customers. So this isn't the, hey, I want that pint of ice cream, as I mentioned, on demand. So we get large
in 15
baskets.
Minutes or whenever, yeah.
We get large baskets, which offsets a lot of the fixed costs associated with delivering directly to customers' homes. And secondly is we don't try to support the on-demand use case at all. We don't believe in that. We believe that there is a use case for on-demand, but we don't want to support that. So what that means is when you're effectively outsourcing your grocery shopping to an AI, What matters is what day of the week you want to get your weekly grocery shop. And as long as we deliver it on that day, it doesn't matter if it was fulfilled the day before or even 2 days before. So we fulfill all of our orders out of 3 fulfillment warehouses strategically located to deliver to the entire US population. And they're semi-automated, so our fulfillment costs are really attractive, and that's led to the generally strong profitability of the business.
Well, that's super exciting. We have a few seconds left. This has been a big week for IPOs in this industry. Congratulations to Instacart folks if you're here. Are you thinking about that as the exit strategy for Hungryroot?
We believe that we have the financial profile of a company that could go public when the markets are ready or normalized, if you want to say that. But we're just squarely, we view ourselves as being extremely early. We think we've really found something that's resonating with consumers. We think our technology is built in such a way where we can really scale it now, scale the impact of it now. But we're so early in terms of, as I mentioned, the 600 grocery items. So we are squarely focused on executing, and we're not, we're well capitalized, we're profitable, so that's our focus for
lots of opportunities to grow. Well, that is excellent. On that happy note, thank you so much for joining me on stage. I love that we've kind of given a counterfactual to the idea that grocery e-commerce can never be profitable. So congratulations on that, and more success to you to come.
Thank you so much. Appreciate everyone being here. Thank you.